we have come to the stage where we can where we can where we understand the truth tables of various logic gates, and if we are given a Boolean expression with various logic variables, then we can draw up a logic gate circuit, right? So we are in that position. Now it is true that if you are given a logical expression, then for the various combinations of a, b, c, d, all these inputs, logic variable inputs, you will be able to figure out what would be the output by simply putting those variables, the value of these Boolean variables in the expression. You will be able to evaluate what is the state, what is the value of that expression, means either whether it is 0 or 1. So that we will be able to do. But normally what will be given to you as a problem, it will be given that for these particular Boolean inputs or binary inputs, we require the logic circuit to give an output of 0 or an output of 1. So, various input combinations and the corresponding output will be listed down in form of a truth table. So, that is also called a truth table. So, truth table is basically a table where you have inputs and corresponding outputs, both input and output being Boolean variables or binary variables, having only the possibility of being 0 or 1. So, so our problem would be, with the understanding of the logic gates that we have developed, we must be able to build up a logic gate circuit for any such truth table that is given to us. How to go about this? How to go about understanding when we are given a random any particular truth table, how to generate the logic gate circuit. So, if we are able to generate the logical expression or the Boolean expression consisting of the variables, then the logic gate circuit is the next step, which we already have seen how to do that. So, we would be concentrating our attention here in formulating the logical expression, in formulating the Boolean expression from a given truth table. So, to do that, the important concept that we would learn today is the concept of min terms and max terms, which is related to the concept of canonical sum and products. So, let us go about it. So, when we are looking at a particular logic function, Boolean function, so function is basically the entire expression with the Boolean variables. There are a few terminologies which we should be aware of. These four terminologies that you are seeing on the screen right now: literal, normal term, min term, max term. So, we should know what these are. Mainly our use would be to understand what the min term and max term is, but before that we should understand what the literal and normal term is. So, a literal is basically a single variable, whether it be in original form or complemented form, both is fine, but it is only a single variable. A single variable or its complement is called a literal. Okay. So, when we are talking about a literal, we must understand it may be some x or x dash, it may be some y or y dashed, only a single, only that. However, there is, if we have combination of variables, then it becomes a normal term. However, normal term is special in the respect that we do not have any variable repeating itself. That means no literal is repeating itself, or it may be specific. A variable does not repeat itself, it does not appear twice in its original form or in the complemented form. So, you see in these examples, a normal term is a b c dashed. If we have a b c dashed a dashed, then it does not remain a normal term anymore. If we have a b a c dashed, then it does not remain a normal term anymore. If we have here a dashed plus b plus c is a normal term. However, a dashed plus b plus c plus a is not a normal term, or a dash plus b plus c plus b is not a normal term. In a normal term, we must be careful to note that the variable is appearing only once in its own original form as well as in its complemented form. So, in one particular form it must appear once only, not more than once. So, this is the normal term. Now, when we have a logic function of n literals, if we have a logic function of n variables, n number of variables, then a normal product term with n literals is a min term, is called a min term. That means the min term will consist of all the literals a or a dashed, b or b dashed, c or c dashed, d or d dashed. So, if it is a 4 literal 4 variable logic function, then up to d, a to d, either a or its complement. So, either the variable or its complement must be present in all the terms. So, all the variables must represent themselves in each of the min term. Max term is the same idea, but for a sum term. So, each variable must represent itself either in its original form or the complemented form in the particular sum term. Now, you notice that we are using the terminologies as product and sum, though we know for sure that this is basically a AND operation and OR operation. So, logical AND operation, logical OR operation. However, for our own easiness of using terminologies, or easiness in speaking, we are using the terms product and sum. Okay, and this is how we mention them, though we understand that they are the AND and OR operation. Now, let us look at a truth table and figure out what would be the min terms and max terms related to the truth table. So, here you see the inputs of a truth table. I have not shown the output because I want to first trace on the min terms and max terms and make you understand that min term and max term has no relationship with the output. It has the relationship only with the sequence of the inputs it is corresponding with. So, you see that there are row numbers. So, we have a 3 input function. So, the 3 inputs are tabulated in order. So there are 8 possible combinations 0 to 7, and the combinations are as listed down. This you are quite thoroughly practiced by now, I hope. Now you look at the column for min terms. Min term has a specific number, and its number is basically the row number, or the it's numbered with the value represented by the binary number which comes in the sequence ABC. So ABC, you have some combination ABC. If you read that as a binary word, ABC itself is not a binary word, it's just inputs. However, if you read it as a binary word, you will be able to figure out a decimal equivalent of it, or you can get the decimal value or the value of that particular word. That decimal number is basically the min term number also. So like you see that 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1 would be 3. So the min term corresponding to 0, 1, 1 is M3, small m3. Similarly, you can check it is in the same way for all the other min terms. If I say min term number 6, it corresponds to the input sequence 110, because 110 is 6. If I had a 4 input variable, a 4 input function, then min term number 6 would correspond to a input sequence 0110, because 0110 is 6. So like that we must understand. So for a for a 3 input function, min terms can also be from M0 to M7 only. If we have to go to min terms 8, 9 or like that, we must have a 4 input function. Okay. Now you look into the structure of the min terms, how these min terms are constructed. So what is M0? I am saying M0, but what is M0? Is M0 A, B, C, or is M0 A dashed B, C dashed? So I know that min term can be any of what is the definition of min term? That all the variables must be present in either the original form or the complemented form and as a product term. So okay, I can form ABC. This is a min term. I can form A dash B dash C. This is a min term. So there are so many possibilities. How many possibilities? Exactly 8 possibilities are there for three variable functions. Now which of this is M0, which of this is M1, which of this is M2? How am I supposed to know? It is very easy to know. You see that when the input sequence, look at the input sequence, when the input variable is 0, the corresponding variable in the min term is complemented. When the, look at here, and when the input variable is 1, the corresponding variable in the min term is uncomplemented in original form. So this is how you can construct a min term very easily. Look at any other min term. Suppose I look at the min term number 6. So let us not look into this place. What is the expression? Let us simply look at the sequence 1 1 0. That means A is 1, so A will come as itself. B is 1, B will come as itself. C is 0, C will come as C dashed. So the min term 6 is A, B, C dashed for a 3 input variable system A, B, C dashed. So let us evaluate, let us figure out then which min terms would be A, B, C, A dash B, B dash C and these. So this would be This means 1 1 1. So this is min term 7. This is A dash means A was 0, B dash means B was 0, C means C was 1. So 0 0 1. So it would be M1. Here it would be 0 1 1 means M3. Now you look at M7, M1 and M3 and verify whether these are the expressions. You see M7 is ABC, M1 is A dash B dash C and M3 is A dash B C. So if you are given the number of inputs, if you know what your n is, here n is 3, then you can compute any mi. You can compute any mi, you will know what is that mi, you can compute that expression for all I from 0 to 2 to the power of I minus 1, to the power n minus, sorry, n minus 1. So you have to know your n, that is important, because you see if your n is 4, then what would be m6? What would be m6? Considering the sequence starting from A, then B, then C and then D, then your m6 will suddenly become A dashed, B, C, D dashed. From previously your m6 would be A, B, C dash. This is your m6. Now it becomes A dashed, B, C, D dashed. So it depends very much on the number of input variables. Be careful about it. So there is no need to memorize here. There is no need to memorize what is the expression of the min term. You simply need to construct the binary number corresponding to this quantity. So if it is m7, you need to construct the binary number corresponding to 7. If it is m13, you need to construct the binary number corresponding to 13, knowing what is the total number of bits you can use. Total number of bits being the length of, being the number of inputs, that is the total number of bits you can use. So if I suddenly tell you give me m12 and I have 5 inputs, give me m12. So you will, what you will do, you will express 12 in terms of 5 bits. So what would be 12 in terms of 5 bits? 12 is 0 1 1 0 0. Am I correct? Yes, I am correct. So this is 12. That means your m12 basically is A dashed, B, C, D dashed, E dashed. That is your m12. So no need to remember. Okay, you simply need to understand how the min terms are constructed. Similarly, max terms are constructed in the same way, but logic is bit different here. If you look at the max terms, you will find these are sum terms. First of all, the first difference is the literals are connected using sum, using OR, logical OR operation. In min term, the literals are connected using logical AND operation. In max term, literals are connected using logical OR operation. Now, what would be that literal? Whether it will be in its original form or the complemented form? Look at the corresponding sequence of bits, input bits. So if the inputs are 0, if the particular input is 0, then the literal remains in its original form. If the input is 1, then it is complemented. Look here in capital M1. So 1 means 0 0 1. So 0 0, that means A and B will remain A and B, and 1, that means C is 1, so C is complemented. You see that, and notice this in all the different max terms. So here also, if I asked you to formulate a max term, suppose I asked you to formulate this M12 only using 5, so M12 I write it here better, using the using 5 inputs. Okay, so the 12 is same, 12 remains like this, 12 is 0 1 1 0 0. So M12 will be A, because A is 0, so 0 means it is not complemented. B will be complemented, plus plus we should not say plus but or, but we can say plus also, but we should remember that it is or. Okay, so or D, it is a good practice to say or and. So A or B dashed or C dashed or D or E. So this is your M12. What would be your M6, capital M6 in 3 variables? Say in 3 variables, so it is already given here. Suppose in 4 variables, so 6 is 0 1 1 0, so it will be A or B dashed or C dashed or D. Okay, so in this way you can find out any min term or any max term. Only you need to know the additional information, how many input variables are there in the function, how many boolean variables are there in the function. That will completely, that completely gives you the information about the min term and max term expressions. Okay, so these are the min terms and max terms for a particular number of for a particular number of input boolean variables, input bits also sometimes we say, for a particular number of input bits. Now we look at the output. Suppose this is the output, the function of ABC is like this. So that means for the sequence 0 0 0, for the input sequence 0 0 0, my output should be 1. This is given to me, this is the problem, for which we need to design a particular logic circuit. For the sequence 0 0 1, my output is 0, and in this way all the outputs are listed down for the particular input sequence. Now how to form the expression, that is the question. So the answer is quite simple. Now the answer is this. So you have two different types of expressions that you can form. One is the canonical sum and another is the canonical product. So when you are doing the canonical sum is the sum of min terms for which the output is 1, for which f is 1. This is also called the sum of products, because the sum of product terms, min terms are product terms, so it is also called sum of products. So what you need to do, you need to only observe from the truth table that which of the outputs are 1, which of the outputs are 1. You simply write down the corresponding min terms and add them up or sum them up. We should not say add, so we should sum them up or we should add them up. So this is how you can get the sum of products expression or the canonical sum expression. So again it is very simple, you simply observe those outputs which are 1 and that will have a corresponding input sequence. That input sequence will give you the min term number and it will directly also give you the min term. So those min terms you collect and write it in a sum expression and it will give you the sum of products. It is also called SOP. So sum of products is also called SOP expression. Now you see here there is FSOP also written as f small m, that means it is the expression of the min terms summed together, also written as summation abc. abc will denote me the number of variables, and these are the positions where the output is 1. Output is 1 at the input sequence whose numerical value would come out to be 0. Similarly, the numerical value which comes out to be 3, that is 1, or this is also the min term number. Min term number. So which min term number is 1? From here you can very easily see. Min terms 0, 3, 4, 6, 7, these are these positions are becoming 1 at the output. So you have to only collect these min term numbers. That is very obvious now from this expression. So here within the bracket you are writing those sequences for which, or I should say those sequence numbers, numbers being the decimal number, the decimal number corresponding to those sequences whose output is 1. So you know that these are the min term numbers you need to write down in the SOP expression. So you simply by looking here and understanding how many input variables are there, you can write down the expressions for the min term. So this is for min term 0, this is for min term, which min term is this? 3, this is 4, this is 6. I have written in order. Okay, 7. We simply write down the expression. So now you get an expression of logic variable. This is where we wanted to come. From the truth table you get a expression. Similarly, you can get a expression for the max terms with the max terms. This is called the canonical product or the product of sums. So here you have to collect those max terms for which the output is 0 and then AND them together. Do the logical AND operation with them, or the product. You have to do the product of these terms. So this is called the POS, product of sums, and written as F capital M also sometimes. The symbol is pi because we have to do a product. Here you can understand how many input variables are there. Here the numbers, those numbers are given for which the output is 0. Remember, we are not giving the numbers for which output is 1, that is for the min term expression. So when we have a summation expression, we are writing down the numbers for which the corresponding output is 1. Now when we have a pi expression, product expression, we are writing down those numbers within this bracket. We are now writing down those numbers for which the output is 0. Now simply looking at these numbers, you can write down the expressions. So you see, this is capital M1, this is M2, and this is M5. So this is 0 0 1 1, sorry, 0 1 0 0 1, sorry, 1 0 1. And then just simply AND them together. That's all. So that is how you find the product of sums. Okay. So one thing I would like to say, why we are summing up the min terms and ending the odd terms. This is very easy to realize. What we need from the output when we have these min terms, you see, whenever a particular input sequence corresponding to one of these min terms is appearing at the input, then the output is definitely going to be 1, because one of these min terms would return a value of 1. See here, if you have a sequence corresponding to 3, that is 0 1 1. So when we have 0 1 1, then this will be 0, this will be 0, this will be 0, this will be 0, of course, but this will become 1. The particular min term for that sequence will become 1, and the entire output becomes 1. Similarly, you can check for all the different sequences that one of these terms will become 1 only when one of these input sequences appear at the input. Otherwise it will remain 0. That means, for suppose for 5, that means 101. Evaluate this expression for 101. None of these terms will become 1 when we have a sequence 101. So the output will remain 0, and that is what you have wanted, the output to be 0. So exactly what you want from out of the truth table is you are getting that output from this. Similarly for the product terms, for the canonical product, these terms, one of these terms will become 0 only when one of these combinations are appearing in the input. For all the other combinations, these terms, all of these terms will be 1. So we get what we want. We want for 1, 2 and 5 we want 0, so we will get 0, because one of these terms will become 0, and for all the other terms we will always get 1. So this is why the sum of products and product of sums expressions work, and this is very easy to calculate also, very easy to write down the expression also by simply looking at the truth table, or by knowing which particular sequence numbers are giving me 0 or 1. This is what we all need to know, and this is known from the problem itself. This is given by the problem, so we can find out the SOP and POS always we can find out. So this is what is written down here. So the input output relationship, if it is given, then one can readily obtain the SOP or POS expression. This is also true that if the SOP is known, then the POS can be readily found out. How? By observing the remaining min term positions, and writing the max terms of those positions. So suppose here you see this SOP is given. We know that these are the positions where I am getting a 1. That means in the other positions I am getting a 0. So you write down the other positions in a POS form. Similarly, if the POS is given, you know that in the other positions I am getting a 1. So you write down the other positions and express it in terms of POS SOP form. So if you know the SOP, you can write down the POS. If you know the POS, you can write down the SOP. So this type of very simple conversion problems can come. So you must be practiced, well versed with this type of conversion. Now the important thing to notice, maybe some of you have already noticed this, that though we are writing down the SOP and POS expressions using the normal product terms and normal sum terms, however, these expressions may not be minimal expressions. That means they can be further reduced. Of course, there is a possibility. And here in this particular two expressions that we are working with, I have done some reduction. and I urge you to look into the reduction, how it has arrived. You should find that out. I will not explain it explicitly now because it is already covered in previous lecture, how to do reduction of expressions. So you can do the reduction and you will find that there is some reduction happening. So they are not minimal expressions. So no one is claiming that the SOP and POS expressions are minimal. No one is claiming that, but at least they are a starting point. That is what we are claiming. At least they are a starting point. So after you form the SOP and POS, you can do your reduction, or if you want, you may not also do. So that is up to the business of the designer. Okay. So so this is what we wanted to say in this uh, during this discussion on canonical sum and product, that don't take them as minimal expressions. Okay, they can be further reduced. Now let us look at the an example and try to formulate the canonical sum and product expressions by what we have understood so far in theory. So what we need to do for SOP, we need to see what are the we need to see what are the positions where the output is 1. So these are the positions where the output is 1, and remember we there would be no 0 1 2 3 like this written here. You will be simply given the input sequence and output sequence. You are supposed to know that this input sequence, what is the decimal equivalent of it. So the decimal equivalent of it is 2. So the min term number 2 should come in the SOP expression. Also, you don't need to really say what min term, which min term number should come unless it is asked. Simply by looking at this input sequence, you know that my SOP will be A dashed, B dashed, C, D dashed. The first term will be this. What is the next term? Next term will be for this one, A dashed, B dashed, C, D. Then A dashed, B, C dashed, D. Just keep checking with me. A dashed, B, C, D dashed. I hope we are correct here. A dashed, B, C dashed, D. A dash, B, C, D dash. Yes. So this is the expression. Okay. And what would be the FPOS? POS, if you want to write the POS, you have to note down where the zeros are. And then you have to write down write down some terms and add them up and product them up. So the sum, the normal sum terms are this and A plus A or B or C or D dashed, right? Then you have A or B dashed or C or D, A or B dashed or C dashed or D dashed. Correct? So for this particular truth table, we have written down the SOP and POS. So there is another truth table given. Oh, okay, this was the same truth table actually. Oh, I misread it. It is continuous. You see, in this particular place, the A is 0. Here the A is 1. So there are these 16 sequences are tabulated, are broken down into two tables actually. The 16 sequences are broken down into two tables, 8 each. Okay, no problem. We can add our min terms. So what other min terms are there? Here, this one, this one, this one, this one. So these are the min terms to be added. Let's add. So this would be A, B dashed, C dashed, D, A, B, C dashed, D dashed, then A B C dash D dash, A B C dash D, A B C dash D, A B C D dash. What are the other max terms that we have missed? So here A dash plus B plus D, then other terms, how many other terms are there? 3. Okay, let's start from here. A dash or B or C dash or D, and A dash or B or C dash or D dash, and A dash or B dash or C dash or D dash. So this is what we have. So I hope I have done correctly, and you know the what is the theory. So if some term has been done incorrectly, please correct them, and you have to understand how to form the min terms and max terms, and which min terms and which max terms you have to collect in order to form the SOP and EOS expression. That is all you need to understand from this lecture. So that is the end, thank you for your attention, and next lecture we would proceed in order to understand how we can minimize this expression. So uh, till then, I take your leave. Thank you.